What's up, guys? Welcome back. I hope you had a great holiday break. I know that I did. And we're starting off 2023 right with some more FPV action. But this time it's not going to be FPV quads. We have some fixed wing action for you. I know that I made the content with the AtomRC Dolphin, and AtomRC reached out to me and they said, hey, do you want to check out our new fixed wing? It's the Swordfish. It's pretty sweet. It comes stock with a flight controller set up with GPS, return to home, and all the things that I added to my own Dolphin. And I was like, of course I want to try that out. So they sent me the Swordfish. Now this is the return to home model. They have a version that comes with FPV gear. That one comes with analog FPV equipment, and I mostly fly DJI, though I've been messing around with some walk snail, which is what I have installed on this one right here. And they sent me the return to home version. Now that RTH version comes with the flight controller wired up. The wings were fully set up. I didn't have to do anything to the wings, except I did add a little bit of epoxy on all of the wire runs to make sure the wires wouldn't come out. It is a twin. We've got navigation lights. The plane is a VTEL design. We have ailerons on the wings, and we have a combination rudder and elevator in the VTEL. So we have a full 4 channels of control, meaning that we can control yaw, roll, and pitch. That was the one thing that I was missing in my Dolphin. I started out flying fixed wing RC, and I flew airplanes for years. I was an airline pilot, and I kept trying to put rudder inputs on my Dolphin. So I'm looking forward to actually having yaw authority in this guy. You could even set up differential thrust to add even more yaw authority. So I'm looking forward to seeing how stable this guy flies. In terms of the build, if you get the same version that I have, which is the return to home, if you want an FPV, you're gonna have to add your own FPV system. Super easy to do. There's a nice little bay here where I've mounted my camera. Let's see, let's get it up, nice close up of that. I have added my own FPV pod here. This comes stock with it. The camera mount, the antenna mounts, it's a couple of 3D prints, as well as a nice injection molded plate. There is another hatch that comes with the plane. This alternative hatch has a mounting plate for your HD camera, I believe. I haven't gone through all of the options because I don't really plan on putting a GoPro on it. I've never been a huge fan of the HD footage that comes off of fixed wings. I love flying these guys, but I don't necessarily fly them to make content. I fly my multi-rotors for that. I fly these guys for enjoyment. Now this is a higher aspect ratio wing, which means that we're gonna get a good amount of lift. I've heard a lot of people talk about using it almost as a slope soarer, as a glider, and using it to get really long flight times. So that's what I'm really hoping to do, is just to get some nice, enjoyable long flight times. I've got GPS on here, so I've got my return to home. I don't have to worry about outflying my RC link or my video, so it should just come back to me. It is all set up for that. This is currently running Inav. However, they do have configurations and targets for both Inav and ArduPilot on this guy. So if you wanted to, you can run ArduPilot and do all sorts of waypoint navigation. Not that Inav doesn't have that, but I think ArduPilot does just a little bit better of a job. That's one thing I want to really mess around with, is trying out ArduPilot and seeing what some of the differences are. I want to get more familiar with it. The wings do have a very nice quick detach function. It's just a little button press and you can pull it apart, and carbon fiber rod in here. So this isn't a review video or an overview or a build video. It's really just a first look. Now with Inav, this guy is set up for auto launch. I haven't tried launching it. I don't know how this is gonna go. This could go horribly and I have to scrap this whole video from here on out. But with Inav, auto launch works when you arm it, it doesn't go full throttle. It waits until the accelerometers, IMU, all of that senses it has been thrown. So I'm gonna take it really easy, and when I arm it, I'm just gonna give it a nice toss. Let's back up so I can get a good video of this, and then we're gonna point it this way so it's not pointed at any power lines, and go that, okay? And so, pardon me while I power everything on and get it launched for the first time. Okay, had to reposition so that I could launch it into the wind. I've got a VTX that's overheating. I gotta get this bad boy in the air, so no more talk, just time to do. It says ready to launch, but it didn't detect the launch. First launch was a failure. Let's try this one more time, get my grip better. Apparently I didn't throw it hard enough, so let's make sure that we throw it nice and hard. We are armed. Throttle is raised. And she's off. Dang, that went really well. In acro mode. Now, to be fair, I am flying this bad boy on 3S, not 4S as is recommended. Dude, it holds the nose up in like a 90-degree bank. I'm gonna go to manual. I just wanna feel how it is without, oh yeah, it needs some trimming. I have not done any kind of form of auto trim or anything to that effect. This is just straight factory. All right, I'm putting it back in angle mode. Not angle, but acro.
Telemetry lost.
It's kind of like a rate.
1,000 milliwatts.
Ooh, I shouldn't need to go to 1,000 to 1 amp yet.
50 milliwatts. 30 seconds.
It was kind of in the null for the antenna. You know what I'm gonna do here? I'm gonna point this guy vertical. So as I fly around myself, I'm not.
25 milliwatts.
I'm gonna turn around here. I'm flying way behind myself off to this end. I hear cars. So we've consumed about 300 milliamp hours. This is a rather large battery that I've got it on. If I pull it down to idle, it's going back up to 4 volts per cell. I don't know, man, this thing flies really good in the acro mode. When I kick it to manual, I need to enable the auto trim and let Inav trim it out for me. It could use some nose up trim, so I'm probably gonna adjust the servo linkages and the lengths of them to where their neutral point is, because the CG was good as it was. I'm getting some like video breakup with the walk snail system.
Telemetry lost. Telemetry
I'm just
recovered.
not.
Telemetry lost.
Okay, you've got to be quiet. With the walk snail system, I'm not hugely confident in this system. I'm getting a lot of the focus mode, getting a lot of breakup on the sides, and I am not that far away from me. I'm just maybe a couple 100 meters down the road, and it's getting like red bars on the outside. You know, I should try all the different modes with walk snail. I just have not been terribly impressed. To be fair, right now it says VTX is overheating. It's a cold day, and I have, interesting. So if the VTX is overheating in cruise flight like this, I may need to make some slight modifications to the vents around that VTX, because I shouldn't be getting this type of overheating going on. Now, it's not like a constant thing, it's already gone away, but that might have something to do with why I am getting that. All right, I'm bringing it in for a landing. Yeah, so long story short, I need to adjust the control linkage to give it a little bit of nose up trim, and then I need to do some auto trim and maybe even a little bit of auto tune, and then figure out what is going on with these modes. But right now I'm just flying the downwind leg in order to land back into the wind close to me. All right, bringing it up around here. This should be our upwind. I'm gonna get it down low, just stretch it out a little bit. I don't wanna have to walk too far. Okay, bleed off some airspeed. I'm gonna cut the props. Ooh, okay. Not too bad. Man, Maidens for fixed wings are always a little bit nervous for me because I've had so many go so wrong. There's so many different things that can go wrong, from your trims, your control linkages, flight controller programming. This one, I was running it with a 3S instead of a 4S because I couldn't get the CG to work out with the 4S battery that I had. I figured it should have enough oomph to get going, and it did. I think it would be a lot faster and a lot more enjoyable of an experience on a 4S, but it flew just fine on 3S. Let's go grab it and take a look and see how she held up. Here she is. She dug the nose in ever so slightly right there, but yeah, we got a little bit of dirt filling up the plug in the nose, but other than that, we are in good shape, ready for another flight. So a couple of notes about the plane itself. Number one, when you are building it, I set it to where the neutral point of those servos on my elevator, on my VTOL here, was basically straight flat. I would give it a little bit of nose up to that. So I'm gonna undo that screw, just twist it a little bit, and before I do my auto trim, and it should be much closer to a neutral position. Now, to be fair, my CG setup, right here is the CG balance points. I am ever so slightly nose heavy. So it's a combination of the two things. I'm gonna need a little bit of ballast in the back in order to run the 4S battery that I have. It's a 3300. Might be a little bit bigger than their recommendation, but it should still be fine. I'm gonna add a little bit of ballast, give it a little bit of trim, and then really investigate why this VTX is overheating. If you look here at the mount, I don't know if you can see that right there. Let me get my touch to focus on, like this guy right here. So there is an inlet. My video transmitter is underneath that. There is an inlet. However, it was overheating, but I also had a failed launch. There's also another air inlet for the right here for all of your electronics. Now, I didn't check this to make sure that it was clear after my failed launch. Basically, the first time I tried to launch it, I didn't throw it hard enough for the auto launch to detect that it had been thrown. So that could have gotten filled up with dirt prior to my first launch, and that might have been part of my low airflow problem. Just trying to dig all the dirt out of that guy. Man. I think it's got a belly full of dirt now. Great. I like how the hatches work on this. That is one thing that AtomRC gets really well designed, is the way that your battery mounting, the way your electronics mount. If you look in here, it is a little bit of a rat's nest with the wiring, but I'm not gonna complain too much because I didn't have to do it. The only thing I had to do was plug in for my VTX and plug in for my receiver, and it was ready to go. Everything else was already set up and done. So if I was building it, I would build it a little bit cleaner, probably with direct solder points, not these old school servo connections. But you know, I'm not complaining because I didn't have to do it. Overall, I am very happy with this plane. I want to do a little bit more in terms of modification. That was a good Maiden, but it needs a little bit of tuning and setup. Need to change those control linkages in order to trim it better. Need to improve the cooling. I may do something as simple as cutting out a scoop in the foam right here. I'm gonna have to just take a look at it and see what's gonna be the easiest thing for me to modify in order to get good cooling to that VTX. Because if it's overheating today when it's like 50 degrees out, in the summertime, it's definitely gonna be overheating. But overall, really happy with this plane. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want to see more content with the fixed wing? Because I want to try it out with ArduPilot. If you guys want to see how my experience goes with ArduPilot, let me know in the comments, and I'll keep making some content about this AtomRC Swordfish. All right, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you guys next time.